I'm going to start this live off with a prayer, a silent prayer to myself, right? I'm praying and hoping that I stay on track because there's a lot of other things that I really want to talk about. But I'm going to touch on some of the stuff that I want to address. Now, y'all know I haven't been watching the mess. I've been trying to stay away from anything that vexes my spirit or might pull me into a place where I don't want to be, right? So, I hey Jamila, hey Alec. So I was watching a little bit of the mess. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Hey April, and I'm gonna address some stuff because y'all know how it just blows my mind that people will make up lies to try to start something with you when you haven't said anything to them at all, right? It blows my mind, but I said it to myself behind, and I said it months ago. People are going to show you exactly who they are. They point the finger, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. And they're going to end up showing you, I was right. I told y'all exactly what I thought about this person and that they weren't Christian and they were weaponizing the word and all of this stuff. And you're going to see these very same people. And I'm going to say this. I have to say this because my name was drugged through the mud. All of these lies were made up about me this weekend and everything. And this ain't no battle. This is just the truth, right? All of these lies were made up over the weekend. And after I'm done with this live, I'm going to private it and I'm going to edit this part out because that's no longer what my channel is about, right? And I promise I'm going to do that. Just like I promised I was going to private the live the other day. And they heard it and made it all about, So the other day, supposedly, it's a shame. It's a shame. I wouldn't pick a troll over my friend and all of this weird stuff, right? Just weird. Just weird. Just inserting themselves in anything that I have going on my blocked channel that none of them should be watching anyway, right? None of them should be watching it. None of them should be caring about what the heck I'm talking about. Nobody should be concerned with what I have to say, especially if you don't rock with me. For anybody who's been here for a long time, y'all know that Paradise has been in my chat for years. For years. And the very same people who are sitting up in there pointing a finger at me, talking about, you're this person, you're that person, you're this, would speak to her every time she was in the chat. Hey, sis, and this. I was listening to some of my old lives, the same people that came out here with those lies, and they know that they're lies, came out here with those lies the other day, creating all of this havoc and doing all of these live streams. You see, they want to cause commotion. You see that they want me to make my content about them, and you see how they picked up people and passed the work, and they want all of this shit to go on and on and on. You understand what I'm saying? This plays into what I'm going to talk about today. Okay? Anybody who knows that I'm not no damn Paradise. Everybody knows that I'm not Paradise. Everybody knows that Paradise has been was a part of this chat, and she's no longer a part of this chat, and that's her decision. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. And it's time to be adults. I sat back and I listened to some, not all, because some people I'm just not going to their sector and I'm not watching any of their stuff at all. Nothing. You can't pay me to do it these days. I got little birdies telling me, oh, I'm not listening. I'm not listening because that's exactly what they want, is to be a part of whatever I have going on my channel. And somebody asked the question, why are you watching her? Why are you watching her? And then gifts that this person was given was weaponized. I'm going to say this. Y'all, don't go out there swinging for me. Don't go in anybody's chat asking, why are you watching her? Don't go in anybody's chat saying anything. I fuck with all of y'all, but you giving these people exactly what they want. They are evil. Evil. And you can't pray it out of them. You can't holy oil it out of them. They ain't gonna be baptized out of it. They are dead inside. And I'm telling you, if you keep on dredging your brain through that muck, you're going to be dead inside too. Free yourself from all of it. You understand me? Like, I'm going to say this to Paradise. Do whatever you, and Bam too, because Bam is my sis and she knows it. She knows it. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody have to swing, and you don't have to prove your point and prove your side to people that you know hate your guts. Why are you looking for approval from anybody or any kind of understanding from anybody who hates your guts already? Let it go, especially when it's referring to or referencing me. Let them talk. Let them make all of the lives that they want to, because that's the only way that they're going to get an ounce of views is by putting my name in their motherfucking titles or referencing me. That's the only way they're going to get some sort of attention or some sort of recognition. That's the only way. Hey, everybody. Hey, Spencer. Hey, Shadow. Hey, April. Who did I miss? That's the only way, and I know, hey, Jamila. I said hi to Jamila already, but I don't know who else I missed. But that's the only way that it's going to happen. It's kind of like, it's like you can see the obsession. How in the world is politics and religion and history about two people? And then they want to say, oh, you a troll or you this person. And knowing damn well that they both knew of that person when they were in my chat. When they were in my chat. This shit is so. And then to come out here and say, and I got proof. Where the proof at? Always screaming, you got proof. Where is the proof? Has anybody seen an ounce of proof? That's what I want to know, because I haven't been paying attention. And the people that told me this last weekend about everything that went on, they ain't had no proof either. Has anybody received any proof? I heard a whole nother sector joined in and was dragging me and talking stuff and all of this stuff, inserting themselves again when it's all kind of shit going on in their sector that I don't even talk about. The desperation. Hey, Lisa. No, just whine. Okay, just whining. Listen, I'm going to say this to everybody. I think that everybody, and I'm going to say this because God told me to say it, okay? I feel that everybody has the right to defend themselves in whatever way they see fit. That's just the way my brain is working right now, right? And I feel that everybody that I know over here, everybody that I rock with over here, they can defend themselves solo dolo. You understand? It don't take a whole chat full of people, a whole clan, a whole cult, a whole group of followers to jump in and jump on it. It's a shit show. It's embarrassing. It's humiliating. Listening to the same shit being repeated over and over and over again deadens and kills. It just, oh my God. I keep on saying this, it kills your brain cells, but you can see the strategy in them. They try to destroy relationships and families, friendships, connections. They are the authors of confusion and division. And they show you every time. And they're constantly screaming, Jesus, 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 Lord, Lord, Lord. And I'm closest to God and you're going to hell. These are fake ass Christians constantly screaming about God and trying to tear somebody down. That's all you doing. That's all they know how to do. Let's get into this commentary. Let's talk about what I came here to talk about. I'm tired. Like, leave me alone. Stop watching my damn channel. Shit. Don't watch none of y'all watching my damn channel. Listen. I'm going to tell y'all this before. What they tried to do didn't work. They tried to take my support away from me, and they're trying to, and then I'm listening, and they coo-cooing and bam, no better, and bam, no, licking ass and all of this stuff, inserting themselves in, and don't even know what the hell is going on, making up narratives, false lies, narratives about things that they know absolutely nothing about. Nothing. They don't know nothing about me. They don't know nothing about Hey Sam, they don't know nothing about me. They don't know nothing about Bam. They don't nobody know nothing about no damn uh Paradise. And she done been in my chat for years. Don't nobody know nothing about her. Y'all want to beef with me. That's what you want. You want a problem with me, but you're not going to get it. Do you understand me? You're going to be out here looking just as foolish as that shit show you did this weekend. And everybody with an ounce of sense is sitting back looking at y'all like, UP said it was going to be like this. UP said that they was the authors. They was the real authors of confusion. UP said that it was them and not her. And every single time y'all start shit and nobody jumps on the bandwagon, everybody is going to see who the hell you are. Thank God. Thank God that you just cannot control your ignorance. Thank God for that. So that's what I want to say. Hey, Cynthia. Hey, Yvette. Thank God. So listen, for years. It's kind of like, she been in the chat for years, Spencer. Years. And she said it in her live stream. She said, I've been in this chat. She said it in that video, rather, not a live stream. She said it in a video. And the people that's been talking about, they know that. They know that. For anybody who remembers Paradise's channel, do y'all remember Paradise's channel when I ain't never seen a group of people that want confusion so bad. They want me and Bam to fight so damn bad. They want us to be like, I don't care if they wed each other, embed each other. I don't care. But their obsession with me and Bam, or me and somebody else, or me and my relationship with me and my moderators, they don't want anybody to be over here. Guess who ran them away? Me. Guess what started changing people's minds about my chat? Not the stuff that y'all did. My chat, my numbers were growing. When y'all were doing all of that stuff and I was involving myself in the foolishness. Hey, Joy. I was involving myself in all of the foolishness. My numbers were growing. You understand me? When I started talking about religion and politics, I started losing subscribers. You didn't do that to me. My content did that to me. You understand? And I knew it would, because I know who supports me. I know who supports me, and I know how deep their connections are with Christ. I already know that. So I already knew I was going to be taking some big L's, and some big L's of some people that I really freaking rock with. Still do. Won't ever stop. Won't ever stop. You understand me? It's my content right now that's pushing things away. But that's going to change too. That's going to change too. But I want the evil that keeps on watching my community wall. I want the evil, the evil that keeps on watching my chat and stalking my channel. I want y'all to stop. Cease and desist. I'm going to pray you off of me. It's something demonic about every single one of y'all. Every single one of y'all set up there and made up that whole damn lie. A whole lie. A whole lie. And motherfuckers that I could have jumped on a bandwagon when they was getting drugged. I mean drugged. And I stayed out of it. Even supported them, let them come in my chat. And they jumped on the bandwagon too. It's sad and it's pitiful. You people are sad and pitiful. And you need to grow up. You need to grow up. Now let's get into it. Y'all. We're going to be talking about some deep stuff today. Now, y'all know I was talking to somebody on the phone somebody told me last night, talking to people, it really, really helps you. It educates you. I was talking to Mika last night, and she said, did you know that that Ethiopia is 2018 in Ethiopia. I'm like, what? It's 2000 what? She said it's 2018 in Ethiopia. I didn't know that. There's a lot of things since I've been doing a little research about like the content that I want to do. There's a lot of things. Well, there's a few things that I did not know, right? So Ethiopia is on a whole different calendar. So they're 7 years behind. Um, their calendar is 7 years behind ours. So technically, Ethiopia is living for their residents in 2018, and we're in 2025. I thought that that was an interesting little fun fact from Mika. Hey, Dominique. So I didn't know that. Didn't know that? You say y'all never knew that either? Okay, well then I don't feel crazy because I didn't know that. I did not know it. Okay, so a lot of things that we're going to be talking about are going to be triggering, but it's actual history. I've been sharing some videos and stuff on my community wall. For those who can't see it, you're going to get an idea of what I've been sharing out. Now, for a lot of people don't know that to teach a slave Christianity was placed into law back in the day, okay? It was placed into law, and Christianity was forced upon not only um I don't even want to say slaves anymore, because I'm learning that there's more, how do I, respectful ways to address the ancestors, right? So I'm going to say well, you know what? Let me just get into what I want to say. What was placed into the law books, what was placed into law was to force Christianity onto the slave, because they felt like it would indoctrinate them, and it would teach them to be a more submissive class of people, that they wouldn't have uh, revolts, because slaves were revolting before Christianity. A lot of people, I didn't even know that there were far more masters being killed, and far more attempted runaways. There were far more, it was a higher need for the master to have the slaves hunted down, so it cost them more money. They needed to think of a more economical way to control the plantation slave, and they used religion. And they took classes and they educated one another on how to indoctrinate the plantation slave so they would not run away. They would fear God. Pay close attention. They would fear God, the fear of God's wrath and God watching them, just like they feared the master. But enslaved Africans were smarter than that. They found the good parts of the Bible, even though there was a slave Bible written for them that only talked about obey your master, obey your master, obey your master. Now, this isn't about slavery. I don't want y'all to think that this whole live stream is about slavery. It's really about Christianity. And the reason that I am so focused on Christianity right now, contrary to what two weirdos want to think, what two stalking ass weirdos want to think, contrary to that, the reason that I'm so focused on um, religion right now is because it's being weaponized against us right now through politics in a big way, in a huge way. And we have to pay very, very close attention to that. And we have to pay attention to that. That is historical. Throughout the creation of Christianity, westernized Christianity, it's been weaponized and forced on nation after nation after nation. Okay. It's been forced on every single nation that has adopted Christianity, has adopted it by force, one way or another. Different nations have used it to enslave or to change the minds of people, and it was made law in nations that if you did not become Christian, if you did not say that you believed in God, if you didn't give up your own religion, that you could be killed, your life could be taken. So have any of you guys heard of, I'm sure you have, did any of you guys know that the Willie Lynch letter, they say that the Willie Lynch letter was a fraud or was a scam, that it wasn't written by an actual slave owner? We're going to get into the Willie Lynch letter first, and then I'm going to point some other things out to you. I want y'all to hear this, and I'm not going to, I was going to say I wasn't going to stop the letter playing because it's been a long time since I've heard it. I listened to it after, shoot, it had been years since I read it, but I listened to it the other day. I listened to the words that were said, and I listened to how these were Christians, Bible toting, Bible holding, Bible thumping Christians that looked at us like that. And now we have a president of the United States, Donald Trump, his cabinet, all racist, his supporters, evangelicals, racists. They say that women shouldn't vote. They believe in the death penalty, but they don't believe in abortion. Like the Pope said, how can you say that you believe in the death penalty, but you don't believe that people should have the right to abort their child? It just doesn't make sense. You believe in killing in one way, but you don't believe in killing in another way, or death in another way. It just doesn't make rational sense. I don't want y'all to listen to this. Hold on. Give me 1 second. You know what two I'm talking about. The two that accused me of being, you know exactly who I'm talking about, Bam. The two that said that they had proof that I was paradise, but they never showed any proof. The two that came out here and tried to cause all of that commotion between me and you. The two that picked up the other sector. You know exactly who I'm talking about. That's who I'm talking about. I'm not biting my tongue. I'm tired. They won't leave me alone. They just won't. Watching everything that I do. Jesus Christ. Okay, so let me play this. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on now. One second. 1 second. Let's go into this. Now I want y'all to listen to this. Yeah, we always winning. No matter what. No matter what. They can't keep their eyes off of us. Can't keep their eyes off. They need to try to learn something. Take a seat. You in the bushes? I know at least one of you is in the bushes right now. Take a seat, take some notes, and learn something, okay? Since you're out here talking about God, 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 like you know everything, trying to put everybody in hell when you a whole demon yourself, why don't you take some notes right now? Learn something. This is actual history, and it's biblical too. So just learn something. Here we go. Hold on. Let me get to my okay. Here we go. Mm-mm. Give me 1 second, 1 second. Yeah, I gotta mute for 1 second because I gotta make sure I got the right audio. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we're gonna listen to the Willie Lynch letter first, and then we're going to go through the history of Christianity. But I'm going to point out some things about the Willie Lynch letter first before we go into the about Christianity. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to listen to it from Audible, y'all. Hold on 1 second. Mm-hmm.
Powering on. Welcome to All Tech Lansing.
Okay.
Powering on. Welcome to All Tech Lansing.
Contents. Chapter 1. Greetings. Chapter 2. Let's make a slave. Chapter 3. Cardinal principles for making a Negro. Chapter 4. The breaking process of the African woman. Chapter 5. The Negro marriage unit. Chapter 6. Controlled language. This speech was delivered by Willie Lynch on the bank of the James River in the colony of Virginia in 1712. Lynch was a British slave owner in the West Indies. He was invited to the colony of Virginia in 1712 to teach his methods to slave owners there. The term lynching is derived from his name. Greetings. Gentlemen, I greet you here on the bank of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712. First, I should thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still have the oldest methods for control of slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. As our boat sailed south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know that your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human beings along its highways and
Now listen to this. They said, has Rome used cords of wood as crosses? And Rome, back during ancient times, would use crosses and the fear of God's wrath, or the fear of the God's wrath, right? They would nail your body to a cross. So Jesus wasn't the only one nailed to a cross. That was the practice in Roman times. That was one. Sometimes they would hang you upside down and nail your body to a cross, right? And they did it in the name of, God. But in reality, the God in their thought was the king. So if you guys get that into your mind and your perspective, but the Willie Lynch letter is talking about this. A lot of people say it's a mythical slave owner. Some people say it's real. Some people say it's not, but it was actually written back during that time. So they say. They just don't know who the real author was. They don't know if that's the real name of the person, because they couldn't find anyone by the name of Willie Lynch. But listen to what it says, because it talks about how they're going to break you and break your mind. Like, keep your body, take the mind, leave them the body and take the mind. So it's going to be really, really interesting to hear. And I really want y'all input in the chat. I want y'all to let me know what you think about this and how it plays into today. And the reason that I said I wanted to play this first is because we have a lot of people who are definitely focused on division. you know they, if they see something and they don't even really know what's going on, they want to focus on division. And the other day I talked about how the slaves did take on the traits of the master. When you were taught something, people talk about generational curses and all that kind of stuff. It's really inherited behavior. That's really what this is about. It's inherited behavior throughout time, because everything is repeating itself over and over and over again.
great numbers, you are here using the tree and the rope on occasions. I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple of miles back. You are not only losing valuable stock by hangings, you're having uprisings. Slaves are running away. Your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit. You suffer occasional fires. Your animals are killed. Gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I am not here to enumerate your problem. I am here to introduce you to a method of solving them. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if you installed it correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take them differences and make them bigger.
Now, I want you to pay attention. Think about today. Think about how beefs start. Think about how wars start. Think about how division starts, and pay attention to what the Willie Lynch letter says. Just go into your head while you're listening to this and think about today. Think about our politics. Think about religion. Think about here recently how things were weaponized and lies are being created. It's about distrust. They don't want you to trust each other. They want to see you divided. Evil wants to see mankind divided. That's what evil wants to see. People who are truly of the light, they would prefer to see people united, coming together, working together, building communities, not ostracizing people and talking down about or ganging up to go at one or two people. It's not about that. That's what evil does. Evil seeks to silence. Evil seeks to destroy. Evil seeks to control your body and your mind.
I use fear,
Listen.
distrust, and envy for control purposes.
Listen.
These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about it. On top of my list is age, but it's there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, sizes of plantations, status on plantations, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley, on a hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. Did you hear that? Distrust is stronger than trust. Once somebody can make you distrust somebody, that's stronger than any trust that you've ever had for them. So pay attention. When people plant seeds, they're doing it for a reason. Seed planters are doing that for a reason. They seek to divide and conquer. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. How many times have we heard out here on these? Let's just take YouTube as an example. How many times have we heard younger people say, "You old granny, you too old, you shouldn't even be on YouTube," or I'm gonna use myself and the things that I've done and said or even been a part of right here on YouTube. How many times have we used that your appearance thing or your height, your weight, he's saying everything that we do right now today, everything that was taught to us by the master and handed down to us through generation after generation after generation. Pay close attention. So when people say, "Oh, don't blame no, you have to blame history. You have to blame genetics, and you have to blame the education. And when you get something from somebody that worked for them, you're going to try to use it too." Keep listening, because this is powerful. I want y'all to hear this. I want y'all to hear this and hear it in a way that maybe you've never heard it. Like when you was reading it we didn't hear the Willie Lynch letter when I was in high school, or I don't know if any of you guys did either. The first time I heard of the Willie Lynch letter was in my late teens, and I was getting ready to go to college. So you must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves. Listen. And the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male and the male versus the female. You must also have your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Listen to this. He said if used consistently for 1 year, the slaves themselves will be perpetually distrustful. That means that they taught Black people. It was pattern and practice to teach Black people how to distrust one another. It was taught to us, embedded, ingrained. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's Make a Slave by the Black Arcade Liberation Library. Listen. It was the interest and business of slaveholders to study human nature and the slave nature in particular, with a view to practical results. I and many of them attained astonishing proficiency in this direction. They had to deal not with earth, wood, and stone, but with men, and by every regard they had for their own safety and prosperity, they needed to know the material on which they were to work. Conscious of the injustice and wrong they were every hour perpetuating, and knowing what they themselves would do. Were they the victims of such wrongs? They were constantly looking for the first signs of the dreaded retribution. They watched, therefore, with skilled and practiced eyes, and learned to read with great accuracy the state of mind and heart of the slave.
Listen, they studied us. They learned the ways that we learned how to cope and survive. They found out what our methods were to try to escape. They studied us. And they're studying us today. Social media is a social experiment. It's studying, like the AIs and the algorithms. It's studying every single person, black, white, yellow, brown, everybody. Studying everybody, not to help the world, but to control it. Not to free anybody, but to continue to make you slaves. Slaves in another way. They don't need the body as long as they have the mind, remember?
Through his sable face. Unusual sobriety, apparent abstractions, sullenness, and indifference, indeed any mood out of the common, was afforded ground for suspicion and inquiry. Frederick Douglass. Let's Make a Slave is a study of the scientific process of man-breaking and slave-making. It describes the rationale and results of the Anglo-Saxons' ideas and methods of ensuring the master-slave relationship. The origin and development of a social being called the Negro. Let us make a slave. What do we need? First of all, we need a black nigger man, a pregnant nigger woman, and her baby nigger boy. Second, we will use the same basic principle that we use in breaking a horse, combined with some more sustaining factors. What we do with horses is that we break them from one form of life to another. That is, we reduce them from their natural state in nature. Whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their offspring, we break that natural string of independence from them, and thereby create a dependency status, so that we may be able to get from them useful production for our business and pleasure. Cardinal principles for making a Negro. For fear that our future generations may not understand the principles of breaking both of the beasts together, the nigger and the horse, we understand that short-range planning economics results in periodic economic chaos, so that to avoid turmoil in the economy, it requires us to have breadth and depth in long-range comprehensive planning, articulating both skill-sharp perceptions. We lay down the following principles for long-range comprehensive economic planning. 1. Both horse and niggers is no good to the economy in the wild or natural state.
Listen.
2. Both must be broken and tied together for orderly production. 3. For orderly future, special and particular attention must be paid to the female and the youngest offspring.
Pay close attention to this.
4. Both must be crossbred to produce a variety and a division of labor. 5. Both must be taught to respond to you in a peculiar new language. 6. Psychological and physical instruction of containment must be created for both. We hold the 6 cardinal principles as truth to be self-evident, based upon the following discourse concerning the economics of breaking and tying the horse and the nigger together, all inclusive of the 6 principles laid down about. Accordingly, both a wild horse and a wild or natural nigger are dangerous, even if captured, for they will have the tendency to seek their customary freedom, and in doing so might kill you in your sleep. You cannot rest. They sleep while you are awake, and are awake while you are asleep. They are dangerous near the family house, and it requires too much labor to watch them away from the house. Above all, you cannot get them to work in this natural state. Hence, both the horse and the nigger must be broken. That is, breaking them from one form of mental life to another. Keep the body and take the mind.
Keep the body
In
and
other
take the
words,
mind.
break the will to resist. Now, the breaking process is the same for both the horse and the nigger, only slightly varying in degrees. But as we said before, there is an art in long-range economic planning. You must keep your eye and thoughts on the female and the offspring of the horse and the nigger. A brief discourse in offspring development will shed light on the key to sound economic principles.
Now, remember when I told y'all that most of this stuff, even on social media, most of the battle is mental because these are only words. And as I have to say it, as as Africans, taken as offsprings of Africans and our African ancestors, they had to get into their minds. They had to change their mindset. When you focus on all of this negativity and all of this stuff on social media, it's changing your mindset. They don't have to whip you anymore. They don't have to subdue you anymore. They don't have to attack you anymore. They get comfortable with you attacking one another. You're doing the job for them. You understand what I'm saying? You don't have to. And I'm not talking about just because this is not about black and white. It's not about slavery. This is about that mental submission that the master, who is the government now, who has always been the master, has been the government and been the leaders of countries and rulers of nations. That's who the masters are. So take the slave and the whips and all of that stuff out of it and think about it in modern day time right now. Get it in your head that that's exactly what's happening today. Distrust among the people, black, white, brown, yellow, all people. The systems create the distrust, and we help spread it.
Little attention to the generation of original breaking, but concentrate on future generations.
Listen.
Therefore, if you break the female mother, she will break the offspring in its early years of development, and when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you, for her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process. For example, take the case of the wild stud horse, a female horse, and an already infant horse, and compare the breaking process with two captured nigger males in their natural state.
Listen.
A pregnant nigger woman and her infant offspring. Take the stud horse, break him for limited containment. Completely break the female horse until she becomes very gentle, whereas you or anybody can ride her in her comfort.
Now let me ask y'all a question. Let's talk about the riders out here on YouTube. Let's just go and make it a little modern day, right? When you think about you out here swinging and you banging on these YouTube streets and stuff and all of that, and you keeping it on the person that's on YouTube, right? You keeping it on these YouTube streets and you talking about YouTube content, and then boom, you get into somebody's head deep enough. What's the first thing some of these people gonna do? Go after your family. They're gonna go after what you love the most. They're going to try to get at you another way. It's the same thing. It's what he's talking about. Now listen to what he's saying. It's the same exact thing. They take their hands off of you and put their hands on that you love. Just like the colonizers. That's why I had to walk away from all of this shit. That's why I can't do this anymore. It's just evil.
Breed the mare and the stud until you have the desired offspring. Then you can turn the stud to freedom until you need him again. Train the female horse where she will eat out of your hand, and she will in turn train the infant horse to eat out of your hand also. When it comes to breaking the uncivilized nigger, use the same process, but vary the degree and step up the pressure, so as to do a complete reversal of the mind. Take the meanest and most reckless nigger, strip him of his clothes in front of the remaining male niggers, the female, and the nigger infant. Tar and feather him. Tie each leg to a different horse faced in an opposite direction, set him on fire, and beat both horses to pull him apart in front of the remaining nigger. The next step is to take a bullwhip and beat the remaining nigger male to the point of death in front of the female and the infant. Don't kill him, but put the fear of God in him, for he can be useful for future breeding. The breaking process of the African woman.
Listen.
Take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way, because she is the most important factor for good economics.
Now listen, they're talking about testing the female woman. What they're talking about is y'all know what they're talking about. If she would take everything that you have to give her, she's a breeder. She makes the money. But think about how when they talk about rights being taken away today, when Trump and his cabinet talk about civil rights and constitutional rights being pushed back and taken away, the woman is a part of that. It's just not minorities that are a part of that or poor people that are a part of that. That's a woman thing too. So your rights as women will go back in time also. Think about it. Sounds like a yes, it is. It is the Willie Lynch letter. Yes, it is, Saeed. Yes. It is.
Economics. If she shows any signs of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of bitch out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so you spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offsprings in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. Understanding is the best thing.
So listen, they say do everything that you need to do to the mother to make the mother train her child to be obedient. Don't fight, master. Don't fight back. Don't talk back. Take everything from the mother. Everything. So she will train her children to be submissive.
Therefore, we shall go deeper into.
And why do mothers do that? Because they don't want their children to go through what they went through. They teach submission because they don't want their children to have to experience the pain and the torture that they had to experience. They actually think that they're helping. Some of them killed their own children, like in Beloved, because they couldn't stand the idea of any child of theirs or any child that they brought into this earth going through what they had to go through.
This area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in this breaking process of the female nigger. We have reversed the relationship in her natural uncivilized state. She would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male, and she would have a limited protective tendency toward her independent male offspring, and would raise male offsprings to be dependent like her. Nature had provided for this type of balance. We reversed nature by burning and pulling a civilized nigger apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death.
You hear that? The colonizer, i.e. master, i.e. government, they brag about reversing nature. Nature. God created nature. So how do Christians take pride in reversing what God created? How does even the religion Christianity try to control what God created? Because God created every single human being divinely, and I'm saying divinely different, with their own free thoughts, their own free will. They shouldn't be controlled by any man. That's slavery. That's what it is. That's slavery. Hold on 1 second, y'all.
All in her presence. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed, the ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen, independent state. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reversed roles. For fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong.
Listen.
Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychologically independent. What have you got? You've got the nigger woman out front and the nigger man behind and scared. This is a perfect situation of sound sleep and economics. Before the breaking process, we had to be alertly on guard at all times. Now we can sleep soundly, for out of frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. He cannot get past her early slave molding process. He is a good tool, now ready to be tied to the horse at a tender age. By the time a nigger boy reaches the age of 16, he is soundly broken in and ready for a long life of sound and efficient work and the reproduction of a unit of good labor force. Continually, through the breaking of uncivilized savage niggers, by throwing the nigger female savage into a frozen psychological state of independence, by killing of the protective male image, and by creating a submissive dependent mind of the nigger male slave, we have created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever, unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the position of the male and female slaves. We showed what we mean by example. Take the case of the two economic slave units and examine them closely. The Negro Marriage Unit. We breed two nigger males with two nigger females. Then we take the nigger male away from them and keep them moving and working. Say one nigger female bears a nigger female and the other bears a nigger male. Both nigger females, being without influence of the nigger male image, frozen with an independent psychology, will raise their offspring.
Now, do y'all understand? Are you paying attention to the today? How just naturally the black man is not a figure in a lot of black homes today? And a lot of people say that's not because of history. Yes, it is because of history. It's because of history through slavery in the past, and it's because of economic history today. The welfare system kept a lot of black men out of homes because women couldn't feed their children. The black man couldn't get a job because they weren't hiring black men, especially black men without formal education. They weren't hiring them. And so they couldn't get a job, right? So the woman had to work and try to get some government assistance. Well, the government said if you got a black man, if you got a man in your house, you ain't getting shit. You're not getting anything. So the government ended up forcing the black man out of the house and away from his family. Couldn't even be there to play the role. So then the government becomes daddy to the family. You understand what I'm saying? So there are patterns, and they take different faces, but it's the same pattern over and over and over again. And now it's the penal system. We're going to take that black man out of that house for a little petty weed charge and stuff, where the white boy had pounds on him and the little black boy had an ounce on him. That man going to prison for years and years, and the white boy get to go home to his family. You understand what I'm saying? There are ways that they take our men out of the home. Patterns.
Into reverse positions. The one with the female offspring will teach her to be like herself, independent and negotiable. We negotiate with her, through her, by her, and negotiate her at will. The one with the nigger male offspring, she being frozen subconscious fear for her life, will raise him to be mentally dependent and weak, but physically strong. In other words, body over mind. Now, in a few years, when these two offspring become fertile for early reproduction, we will mate and breed them and continue the cycle. That is good, sound, and long-range comprehensive planning. Warning: possible interloping negatives. Earlier, we talked about the non-economic good of the horse and the nigger in the wild and natural state. We talked out the principle of breaking and tying them together for orderly production. Furthermore, we talked about paying particular attention to the female savage and her offspring for orderly future planning. Then, more recently, we stated that by reversing the positions of the male and female savages, we created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever unless a phenomenon occurred and reshifted the positions of the male and female savages. Our experts warned us about the possibility of this phenomenon occurring, for they say the mind has a strong drive to correct and recorrect itself over a period of time. If I can touch some substantial original historical base, they advised us that the best way to deal with the phenomenon is to shave off the brute's mental history and create a multiplicity of phenomena of illusions, so that each illusion will twirl in its own orbit, something similar to floating balls in a vacuum. This creation of multiplicity of phenomena of illusions entails the principle of crossbreeding the nigger and the horse, as we stated above, the purpose of which is to create a diversified division of labor, thereby creating different levels of labor and different values of illusion at each connecting level of labor. The results of which is the severance of the points of original beginnings for each sphere of illusion. Since we feel that the subject matter may get more complicated as we proceed in laying down our economic plan concerning the purpose, reason, and effect of crossbreeding horses and niggers, we shall lay down the following definition terms for future generations. Orbiting cycle means a thing turning in a given path. Axis means upon which or around which a body turns. Phenomenon means something beyond ordinary conception and inspires awe and wonder. Multiplicity means a great number. Sheer means a globe. Crossbreeding a horse means taking a horse and breeding it with an ass, and you get a dumb, backward ass, long-headed mule that is neither reproductive nor productive by itself. Crossbreeding niggers means taking so many drops of good white blood and putting them into as many nigger women as possible, varying the drops by the various tones that you want, and then letting them breed with each other until another circle of color appears as you desire. What this means is this: put the niggers and the horse in a breeding pot, mix some asses and some good white blood, and what do you get? You get a multiplicity of colors of ass-backward, unusual niggers, running, tied to a backward-ass long-headed mule, the one productive of itself, the other sterile. The one constant, the other dying. We keep the nigger constant, for we may replace the mules for another tool. Both mule and nigger tied to each other, neither knowing where the other came from, and neither productive for itself, nor without each other. Controlled language. Crossbreeding completed, for further severance from their original beginning, we must completely annihilate the mother tongue of both the new nigger and the new mule.
Now he said crossbreeding completed. So what basically what he was saying is that you have to put drops of white blood into black people in order to separate them even further from themselves. You have to create different hues and different shades and all of that stuff to create bigotry, to create hatred, to create something that you can use against one. As long as we all looked alike, as long as we were all the same shade and the same hue and looked alike, you couldn't do that. But the moment they made us look different, the moment they took the melanin and diluted it, they could use us against one another. And that's basically what he was saying. Hey, Beefcake, keep on listening, y'all. Hold on.
And institute a new language that involves the new life's work of both. You know, language is a peculiar institution. It leads to the heart of a people. The more a foreigner knows about the language of another country, the more he is able to move through all levels of that society. Therefore, if the foreigner is an enemy of the country, to the extent that he knows the body of the language, to that extent is the country vulnerable to attack or invasion of a foreign culture. For example, if you take a slave, if you teach him all about your language, he will know all your secrets, and he is then no more a slave, for you can't fool him any longer.
Are y'all paying attention to this? Educate yourselves. That's basically what he's saying. You will always be a slave. You won't even know it unless you educate yourself and you can see the sign. Take your language, take your knowledge.
And being a fool is one of the basic ingredients of an incident to the maintenance of the slavery system. For example, if you told a slave that he must perform in getting out our crops, and he knows the language well, he would know that our crops didn't mean our crops.
Exactly.
And the slavery system would break down, for he would relate on the basis of what our crops really meant. So you have to be careful in setting up the new...
means master. Like a lot of people think that YouTube belongs to them, that their channels are their property and all of that stuff. No, you're working for the master. Every video, every live that you do that they can slap a commercial on and give you pennies on the dollar while they make dollars on the dollars. You're a slave to a system that uses you every day. Every single day. And you don't even realize it. And this is just not for Black people. This is for mankind. The rulers are the big money, the governments and the people that are in power. That's who the rulers are. You ain't running shit. And you won't even get your ass out there and vote. You won't even pay attention to politics. You won't even pay attention to what's being taken away from you. And you laugh at what was given to you. Because your freedom was given to you. Paid by the blood of your ancestors. And you laugh at it every damn day. Don't value it. Sad. Sad. You doing the work of the master.
New language for the slaves would soon be in your house, talking to you man to man, and that is death to our economic system.
Listen.
In addition, the definitions of words or terms are only a minute part of the process.
Listen.
Values are created and transported by communication through the body of the language. A total society has many interconnected value systems. All the values in the society have bridges of language to connect them for orderly working in the society. But for those language bridges, these many value systems would sharply clash and cause internal strife or civil war, the degree of the conflict being determined by the magnitude of the issues or relative opposing strength in whatever form. For example, if you put a slave in a hog pen and train him to live there and incorporate in him to value it as a way of life completely, the biggest problem you would have out of him is that he would worry you about provisions to keep the hog pen clean, Or take the same hog pen and make a slip and incorporate something into his language where he comes to value a house more than he does his hog pen, now you've got a problem. He will soon.
Are you listening? Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Do you understand what he just said? And this was written in the 1700s. Do you hear what he just said? You take a slave and you get them comfortable with less. Less. The only thing that they're gonna worry about is how can I make my less real nice? I wanna like how can I get some gold around my neck? You know, I got me a few dollars in my bank. I want to get me a big old chain. I want to look like something. I want to do you and the problem is when the slave starts focusing on, wait a minute, Massa got a house. Massa can make laws. Massa can change laws. Massa can say whether or not my kids go to school. Massa can do all of this. I want to do that too. So to me, politics and voting and actually having a say in the world is the most important thing. It's freedom. And it's the only thing that we have as a world, because this is happening all over the world to every single nation, every nation who has rulers. Everything is a part of the system. Christianity, though, Christianity has been the biggest tool, the biggest weapon against the people since its inception. Now, pay attention. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to church. I'm not saying you shouldn't worship God. I'm not saying that you shouldn't believe in Jesus, because I've done all of that and still do. Still believe in God, still believe in Jesus. Don't go to church often, but I will go into a church, right? What I'm saying is, as a people, you need to understand when things are being weaponized against you, and you need to buck against that. Because our ancestors, when they found out about certain parts of the Bible, they did just what I say every day in my life, in these last few lives. They ate the meat and spit out the bones. They focused on the good stories like Noah leading people to freedom, leading the slaves to freedom. That's what they focused on. You have to focus on the positive things that get you that emotional healing. That's what our ancestors did in order to survive. They compartmentalized within their brains in order to survive. That's what Christianity is all about for Black people. It's surviving the toughest parts of their lives and knowing that there's something better to come. But the master wanted you to think that something better happens when you go to heaven. No, that something better is when you create a heaven right here for yourself and your family. That something better is knowledge, the very thing that a lot of people run from, A lot of people fear knowledge. So let's talk about Christianity. That was the end of that letter. Let me see. I don't think it's anymore.
Soon be in your house.
Yeah, he'll soon be in your
This
house.
has been The Willie Lynch Letter and the Making of a Slave. Copyright 2013 by Snowball Publishing.
Okay.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.
So that was the Willie Lynch letter. Okay. Yeah, Sam, it is crazy. It's crazy how history is repeating itself. But I want y'all to listen to this. This is going to blow your mind. If you don't know the history of Christianity, if you haven't been if the knowledge hasn't been placed in your lap about the history of Christianity, This right here is going to blow your mind because
across the Americas.
I want y'all to hear this.
Christianity, the most practiced religion on earth, began with the life of Jesus Christ, a Jew who lived in the Roman province of Judea. His resurrection and divinity are matters of faith, but his existence and death by crucifixion around 30 AD are widely accepted as historical fact. Christianity's early spread is credited to a small group of loyal followers, the Apostles. They are joined around 36 AD by Paul, who has a vision of Christ while traveling to Damascus. Paul makes it his life's mission to spread the gospel, or good news, of Christ's death and resurrection. He is extremely successful, winning Christian converts around the Mediterranean and as far west as Italy. According to tradition, the Apostle Mark establishes a church in Alexandria around 42 AD, the origin of today's Coptic Orthodox Church. Also, according to tradition, in 52 AD, Thomas the Apostle arrives in India and establishes several small Christian communities. Most historians dispute this due to lack of evidence. Early missionaries such as Paul successfully spread Christianity across the Roman Empire in the 1st century AD.
Now, this is really, really interesting because this was Christianity being spread all over the world, and they said it started about 32 years after Jesus's was crucified. So it was the Apostle Paul who started spreading it all over the world. Pay close attention to what they're saying because you're going to recognize they just said the Roman Empire, okay? You're going to recognize that Christianity changed. Christianity changed when leadership, when the powers that be, the powers wanted to weaponize it. And pay attention to how things started to change.
Christian communities are documented from North Africa to Italy.
That's 100
By
AD.
100 AD, the 4 Gospels that make up the Bible's New Testament are complete. They form the foundation of Christianity to the present day. Christianity continues to spread in the Roman Empire and among its neighbors. Around 301, Armenian king Tiridates III converts to Christianity and proclaims it the state religion.
A king got involved. A king, listen, made it the state's religion,
making Armenia the world's oldest Christian country.
Armenia is the world's oldest Christian
Christians
country.
face persecution across the Roman Empire, where it is emperors who are considered divine.
Did you hear that? Christianity faced persecution because rulers considered themselves to be divine. They considered themselves to be the only connection to God.
But in 312, according to Christian chroniclers, Roman Emperor Constantine experiences a Christian vision just before the Battle of Milvian Bridge. The following year, he passes the Edict of Milan, legalizing Christianity across the Roman Empire.
Constantine,
in 325, he convenes the Council of Nicaea, the first of many formal church gatherings aimed at resolving theological disputes. An estimated 300 bishops attend the council, evidence of Christianity's early growth and organization. The council establishes the Nicene Creed, a statement of Christian faith still used today. Nevertheless, Christianity is fragmented, and numerous sects and doctrines flourish. Most disputes center on the precise nature of Christ and his relationship to God and the Trinity.
Listen. Age of the Saints came.
Around 330, Christianity spreads south into Africa. King Izana declares Christianity the official religion of Aksum in the Horn of Africa. This is the origin of today's Ethiopian Church, one of the oldest in the world. In 380, Emperor Theodosius passes the first Roman law to define Orthodox Christian belief. Christianity is on its way to becoming the state religion of the Roman Empire. Across its territory, Christians attack old temples, destroying some and turning others into churches.
You hear that? Once the kings got involved, Christianity became violent. A violent place to be. A violent religion to deny or denounce.
Later emperors outlaw worship of the old gods and persecute their followers, who become known as pagans, a derogatory term for those who are backward and inferior. The so-called barbarian tribes that overrun much of the Western Roman Empire, Visigoths, Ostrogoths, and Vandals, also convert to Christianity.
Yes, the Catholic
even
Church.
if initially they adopt the heretical beliefs of Arianism. Around 405, St. Jerome completes a new Latin translation of the Bible, which becomes known as the Vulgate. It will become the official Bible text of the Catholic Church, and remains the basis of the Catholic Bible to this day. Over the next 2 centuries, missionaries, at great personal risk, strive to convert pagan communities and their rulers. The conversion of an influential ruler proves a crucial strategy, often leading to the conversion of entire realms.
Now, let me ask y'all a question, those who are left in the chat. Does this, like, you don't have to answer it. Does this sound like a religion that is spread because of love for God or love for Christ? Or does it sound like a religion that's spread from control? Because I want y'all to keep on listening to what they say. Every nation that they entered, they went to change the minds of people who had already had their own beliefs. They went to change their minds in order to, and every nation that they entered is going to say later on in this in this video, every nation that they entered, they ended up garnering resources from that nation. They ended up trying to control the people in that nation, and they would kill you. Like I said, they would kill you, jail you, call you a heretic, say that you were the devil. They would stone you, hang you, lynch you, place you on a cross. It was all about control. It wasn't about God. It was about control. Keep listening.
Christianity spreads throughout Western Europe, even as the Western Roman Empire falls. Around 432, St. Patrick travels to Ireland to begin the conversion of the Irish.
St. Patrick traveled to Ireland to begin the conversion of the Irish. They already had their own beliefs too.
508, Clovis, king of the Franks, converts, completing the conversion of Gaul. In 563, Columba travels from Ireland to western Scotland, establishing a monastery on the island of Iona, one of the oldest in Western Europe. In 589, Visigoth king Recared renounces Arianism and converts his entire kingdom to Catholicism. In 597, Pope Gregory sends St. Augustine to Britain. He converts King Ethelbert of Kent beginning the conversion of the English.
So what they did was they converted the rulers of the nation. They converted the kings of the nation or the rulers of the nation. And once the rulers of the nation became converted by whatever priest, Catholic priest or apostle went to their nation, once they became Christian, they made it law in their nation that you had to become Christian like them. Narrow road my ass. Okay, so we're entering the age of holy war. I don't know if people realize, but there were world wars about religion. Nation after nation after nation tried to hold on to their individual beliefs and their right to believe and practice what they wanted to believe, but the rulers would take over and say, no, you got to believe this way. It's the right way. It's the only way.
In 635, Alopen becomes the first known Christian missionary to reach China. Emperor Taizong of the Tang dynasty issues an edict allowing Christianity to spread. Missionaries build churches and translate Christian texts into Chinese. Christian theology mixes with existing traditions, adopting Taoist and Buddhist terminology. Meanwhile, Arab forces, proclaiming the new faith of Islam, conquer much of the Middle East and North Africa, and seize control of Christianity's most holy sites in Jerusalem.
Listen.
By 720, Muslim conquests extend as far as the Iberian Peninsula. However, most Islamic rulers tolerate Christianity in their lands, and though treated as second-class subjects, Christian communities endure. Medieval Europe has by now splintered into many kingdoms. Frankish King Charlemagne extends his rule across Francia, Bavaria, Saxony, and northern Spain. Wherever he conquers, he converts new subjects to Christianity, often at the point of a sword. In 800, he is crowned Holy Roman Emperor by the Pope, the first in an imperial line that lasts 1,000 years. Christianity continues to spread north and east, with the help of more royal conversions. In 965, King Harold Bluetooth of Denmark, followed by Duke Mieszko and Poland's leading nobility. Vladimir the Great, Grand Prince of Kiev, regarded as the founder of Christianity in Ukraine and Russia. King Olaf Tryggvason of Norway, who sends missionaries to Iceland and Greenland. King Stephen of Hungary, and King Olaf Hurtkunen of Sweden, whose attempt to convert pagans meets fierce resistance. In 1054, tensions between the Greek Eastern Church, headed by the Patriarch in Constantinople, and the Latin Western Church, ruled by the Pope in Rome, lead to a split known as the Great Schism. The result is the formation of the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church. The Eastern Roman, or Byzantine, Empire is hard-pressed by the Seljuk Turks. And so in 1095, Pope Urban II calls for a crusade to aid the Byzantine Empire and reclaim the Holy Land for Christians. He promises forgiveness of sins to those who take part, and Catholic Christians sign up in droves. The success of the First Crusade leads to the establishment of several Christian states in the Levant. But within 200 years, all have fallen to Muslim neighbours. Christian rulers have more success in Iberia, rolling back the Muslim conquests of the 8th century. In Northern Europe, there are crusades against pagans in the Baltic and Finland.
Now, crusades means rushes of war. That's basically where they rush into your nation and force their religion on you. Christians were not missionaries coming with a soft hand. Christians were coming with violence, death, and tyranny. It wasn't about choosing your religion or choosing your path to God. It was about it being forced upon you. That's what it was about.
Meanwhile, Christianity continues to gain influence in the East. Papal legate John of Montecorvino crosses Armenia, Persia, and India to reach China, where in 1294 he becomes the first bishop of what will become Beijing. In 1386, Grand Duke Jogaila, the last pagan ruler of Lithuania, is baptized and begins converting his subjects. In 1453, the Ottoman Turks capture Constantinople, the center of the Eastern Orthodox Church. Constantinople had been considered the new Rome. With its fall, the Russian Orthodox Church claims Moscow as the third Rome, with a duty to protect all Orthodox Christians.
Age of Discovery.
The Age of Discovery, marked by great pioneering maritime voyages, will see Western European powers carry Christianity to many far-off lands. In 1482, a Portuguese caravel reaches the Kingdom of Congo.
Now, the Portuguese were the first to enslave Africans. Pay close attention. And they found their way in with the use of Christianity and trade. Money and faith. Money and God. Money and salvation. That's the way they found their way in.
9 years later, its ruler, Zingakuwu, converts to Christianity, along with many of his nobles. The king later abandons his Catholic faith, but Christianity remains Congo's state religion. In 1492, Catholic monarchs defeat the last remaining Islamic rulers in Spain, in the Emirate of Granada. The Christian reconquest of Iberia, the Reconquista, is complete.
Now this is all about now somebody in the chat said it's amazing how history is repeating itself. This is history that goes back thousands of years. Thousands of years, right? We're in 2025 now, right? This is history that goes back thousands of years, and now you're listening to Israel and Palestine and Russia and Kuwait and all of these places arguing over land rights, religion, faith, and it's been historic. It's been the patterns throughout time. Created divisions by land conquest and war and all of that stuff, faith, beliefs, and religion, and money. That's what it's been about. Very little God for real. Very little. But people always put the clean robe of God on it.
same year, Christopher Columbus reaches the Americas. It is a moment of profound significance for the spread of Christianity. Further transatlantic voyages by Europeans will pave the way for colonization and conversion of this new world.
Colonization and conversion of the new world. Conversion, not missionary salvation, not spreading the good word. Conversion means you go in and you change something that was something else before. This is crazy.
In 1493, Pope Alexander VI issues a papal bull granting Spain the right to claim newly discovered lands in South America. The bull urges that the Christian religion be exalted and be everywhere increased and spread.
So the Pope gave Spain, who were the second owners of slaves in Africa, under the guise of God, gave Spain and ended up giving others who were Christian nations the right to go into other people's nations and take their land if they were not Christian, and force them to be converted. Did it to the First Nations right here in America.
And that barbarous nations be overthrown and brought to the faith itself. The following year, in the Treaty of Tordesillas, Spain and Portugal agreed to divide the New World between them.
Listen.
Drawing a line on the map, Spain will get everything to the west, Portugal everything to the east. And wherever Spanish and Portuguese expeditions tread, Christian missionaries follow. Across what becomes New Spain, the Spanish impose Roman Catholicism, with the forced conversion of indigenous peoples.
The forced conversion of indigenous people. Forced conversion.
Attempts to eradicate native religions. The same process occurs further south in Peru and the Portuguese colonies in Brazil. This era also marks the dawn of the transatlantic slave trade.
Y'all listening?
As Europeans transport enslaved Africans to the Americas as forced labor. Christianity spreads in West Africa as a byproduct of the slave trade. And by the 16th century, Portuguese missionaries have established Christian communities along the coast. Meanwhile, in Europe, there is another major fracture of the Christian religion. In 1517, German priest Martin Luther launches a scathing attack on what he considers to be the corrupt practices of the Roman Catholic Church. His actions trigger the Protestant Reformation. Protestant demands for church reform spread rapidly, aided by Gutenberg's new printing press. They are taken up by several European rulers for a mix of political and spiritual motives. Protestantism takes hold in Northern Europe. In 1534, English King Henry VIII breaks with Rome and makes himself head of the Church of England. From its birth, Protestantism is divided amongst a bewildering number of sects and movements, from Calvinists and Lutherans to Baptists, Anabaptists, Moravian Brethren, Anglicans, and Presbyterians.
So Christianity was split because they couldn't agree. And the rulers wanted to rule in the way that they wanted to rule, and they wanted to use Christianity to do it, to keep the people in line. That's a pattern. That's a pattern of the faith itself, to keep the people in line.
Yet Catholicism remains the dominant branch of Christianity. It will now travel to Southeast Asia, alongside Portuguese and Spanish commercial interests. Missionary Francis Xavier journeys across Asia as a representative of the Portuguese Empire. He lands in Goa in 1542, sails to Portuguese outposts in Indonesia in 1545, and reaches Japan in 1549, where Christianity gains many followers. In 1565, the Philippines becomes a Spanish colony and a hub for European trade. Catholic missionaries ensure Christianity is soon the dominant religion. In the early 1600s, Protestants from England and the Netherlands establish colonies along the North American coast. Many are Puritans, seeking religious freedom and the opportunity to build perfect Christian communities. Missionary John Eliot contacts native tribes in Massachusetts, and by 1663 he prints a Bible in their native language.
Listen.
But attempts at conversion have limited success. In the centuries ahead, it is the spread of European settlers that carries Christianity across the North American continent. By the end of the 18th century, Europeans have successfully embedded Christianity across the Americas. In both Britain and the future United States, this century sees several waves of religious revival, known as the Great Awakenings. These lead to the birth of the modern evangelical movement, with its emphasis on scripture and personal salvation.
The age of modern missions.
In the high age of European imperialism, Christianity travels to the remaining corners of the globe, alongside European settlers and missionaries. In 1788, Christianity arrives in Australia, alongside the first British penal colony. The London Missionary Society sends its first missionaries to eastern Polynesia in 1797. Missionary work is largely responsible for Christianity's spread across the islands of the South Pacific. Christianity then reaches New Zealand, where missionary Samuel Marsden preaches the first Christian sermon in 1814. Christian missionaries spread their faith across India, among them the Baptist minister William Carey. Known as the father of modern missions, he translates the Bible into 7 Indian languages. But Christian missionaries are resented by many Hindus and Muslims. This anger contributes to the Great Indian Uprising against British rule in 1857.
Always trying to take something from somebody,
This is the age of heroic
Christians.
missionaries, men and women who embark on long and dangerous journeys to save souls in far-off lands.
Saving souls, right.
Scottish missionary David Livingstone is perhaps the most famous, the first European to reach many parts of Central Africa and to discover and name Victoria Falls. There are others, Adoniram and Anne Judson, who spent nearly 40 years as missionaries in Burma.
Now, see, what's so irritating about all of this and this history, I have to say, is because all of these Christian missionaries go to nations that are already discovered, already inhabited, and they claim, like discovering Victoria Falls, they name these places after themselves, they take over and they dominate. And that's pretty much what happens today. We're seeing it every single day, how, you know, big money comes in and they just take whatever the hell they want. That's what they do. Because all they have to do is pay the king. Kings now are mayors of cities or a board of city council and all of that kind of stuff. That's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with money and religion being used to suppress your free will and free speech. You know, be docile, trust in the Lord, wait on your time in heaven. You know, ain't none of them worried about going to heaven. Isn't it in the Bible saying that, you know, it's easier to get a camel through the eye of a needle than to get a rich man in heaven? They all know that, but they know the truth. And the thing that I have to say about this, I posted this on my community wall. We're going to listen to this until it ends, but go back and look at it for yourself, because it shows the dates and the places everywhere the Christian, all over the world, to change people's mind, to take away their free thinking and make them think like they think. No nation is entitled to their own beliefs as long as wealthy people want to change them.
And Mary Slessor in Nigeria, who learns the local language, Efik, to preach Christianity. In 1884, American Presbyterians arrive in Korea, bringing both Western medicine and Christianity. The new religion takes off. Today, nearly a third of South Koreans are Christian. In the 1880s, European nations begin the Scramble for Africa, a colonial carve-up of the last independent African states. By
A colonial carve-up of the last independent African states. Using Christianity to do it. This is sad.
14, they have claimed 90% of the continent, bringing Christianity with them. China had so far proved largely resistant to Christianity, with only around 100,000 converts by the start of the 20th century. There had even been a violent backlash against the spread of Christianity, the Boxer Rebellion, with thousands of Chinese Christians killed. But extensive missionary work after 1900 leads to the construction of thousands of churches and around 4 million Chinese converts by 1945. In the 20th century, the rise of communism proves a major threat to Christianity and other religions. Communist governments in the Soviet Union and Central and Eastern Europe dismantle the church and suppress worship. But Christianity proves the more resilient doctrine. When those governments fall, Christian churches re-emerge with popular support. Even in communist China, there are today many millions of Christians, despite tight state regulation. For nearly 2,000 years, the impact of countless missionaries and colonizers has helped to spread the Christian religion across the globe. Today, there are 2.3 billion Christians, nearly a third of the world's population.
Today, there are 2.6 billion Christians.
Living and worshipping in almost every country on earth. For those of the Christian faith, another faith, or none, it has incontrovertibly been the most astonishing historical journey. If you've enjoyed this journey through the history of Christianity,
I have shared this video. That's the end of this video, and we're ending this live. And I want to say a few things before I go, right? I'm going to be taking this live down for a minute and editing the first part out of it. I said what I said, and I'm sure the people that I was talking to, I'm sure they heard it, you know, because they watch absolutely everything that I do. But I wanted to stress to y'all how Christianity is not the road less traveled. It's not the narrow road. It's the widest road on the planet. And it's, for most parts, it's not by choice. Like recently today, most Christians are Christian because they were indoctrinated by their parents, just like I was, or like by your community. It was the religion, your religion was handed to you by the people that you were raised by or the people that you were around. And I'm talking about in the Black community. I know that, and I know throughout history, Christianity has been used for us as a coping mechanism, you know, ever since it was forced upon us, right? But a religion to me that had to gain its popularity or gain its usage by force is not is not a genuine religion of the Most High, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I just think that you can have a closer connection to God one-on-one. You can use the book and you can grow. But that's just my opinion. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I'm about to get up out of here. Listen, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming in this live. And I know this is some tough commentary. And I know a lot of people don't like it, especially the people that I deal with. The people that I deal with on this channel. And soon I'm going to show some of y'all to my other channel. It's growing. I'm happy with it. I'm starting to get a lot of, new subscribers and people that are really interested in this content and in this commentary. Right here on this channel, I'm in the wrong area for this type of content. They like beef. They like drama. They like mess. They like separation and division and all of that stuff. And that's just not what I'm about. It's not a path that I ever should have gone down, but it was a path that taught me a lot. Taught me about who I don't want to be with, what type of people I don't want to be around. You know what I'm saying? So it taught me a lot. I appreciate it too. Y'all have a blessed and beautiful rest of y'all night. I'm about to get up out of here. And if you did not hit the thumbs up on your way in, please hit the thumbs up on your way out. Try to get this video in the algorithm. I know it's very, very difficult. But do that for me. And y'all have a wonderful evening. And bye, guys.